Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. I'm your host, Ria Mestiza, holistic health coach, mind-body performance practitioner, and this is the Pull the Curtains Back insight into how everyday superheroes have experienced tapping into their superhuman potential. To go from fear, frustration, and struggle to soaring next-level astronomical heights, I believe we all have more amazing within us than we know. I believe we all have unique superpowers, and I believe we all deserve to be our superhuman best. So let's dive in. I'm excited to be back with another episode, and I'm literally recording this on the same day that I'm releasing it. It's been a download, you can call it, that's just come in through me, and I just feel like I want to share it and, get another episode finally out there, because I have to say, this whole conversation about fear of failure and success, you might be thinking, how can we even have that sentence, in the same breath, in the same context? It's because they are literally one and the same. And the fact that I'm now staring my last episode release in the face, being in April, and realizing now it's been 3 months since I have released one. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have actually I've recorded one a little while ago. I just wasn't super happy with it, and I know it could be better, and I will bring it to you better and more refined in the near future. It's just that the time that it's been in itself, to me, feels like a failure. It's just the truth. I'm just being real with you. And there are a lot of reasons for that, and I could give you a whole bunch of excuses, but you just have to follow your heart sometimes. And it's not that my heart hasn't been in it, it's just been in other things. And I have to understand that April is always going to be a hard month for me, seeing that it was my dad's first year death anniversary, and it spirals me a little bit emotionally. And then you think about, you kind of get down on yourself. I'm still a recovering perfectionist and I just want to bring the best that I can, and when I can't, that's when I kind of drop off a little bit. So I apologize for not being around the last few months, but what brings me back is the fact that I can still see that episodes are being listened to on YouTube and through podcasts, and that has inspired me to come back and to be here with you today. So I'm forcing myself to do this live, basically, raw and real, deep and meaningful conversation over coffee, we can call it, with me about this topic: fear of failure and success. So let's look at the meaning of fear. The meaning of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Now, that emotion alone stops many of us in our tracks from pursuing things we otherwise want to do, but are scared of failing, being perhaps worse off, or hurting ourselves in some perceived way. So let's look quickly at the fear of starting this podcast. The conception of Summon Your Superhuman. I had a lot of excuses or reasons why I shouldn't start it. Imposter syndrome, worried what people may think, worried if people may even tune in. It's seemingly silly now looking back into it, but it's a process I think most of us go through when we are wanting to start something new. We want to keep ourselves comfortable, and change makes us uncomfortable, and the new is the unknown, and so we try to talk ourselves out of it, basically. But we miss out on the potential reward being the success, isn't it? So we're scared we're going to fail, and at the same time we're almost scared equally of it being a success. And I can relate with that, because I've spent many years of my practicing years now, prior to 2020, happy with not being in the social eye,
I was quite happy just having good reputation, word of mouth, and doing what I do in person. And I'm very grateful that it has now shifted to having more broader reach and being able to inspire people all over the world with just my experience and what I've gone through. And and it's just in the way of delivery, really, because a lot of what a lot of people say we've heard before, but sometimes you just need to hear it the right time in a different way, and it'll hit different. That's kind of why I keep doing speaking engagements and things like that. Is because you just never know who needs to hear your message. And so that has led me down this journey of doing the podcast. And I'll come back full circle to my podcast. Actually, let's look at potential reasons why my clients have been scared of failure to even get started working with me in the first place. They don't even take that first step. And it's sadly uncommon that I hear, I've been wanting to work with you for months, for even years. And what stopped them is similar to what I mentioned earlier with myself, is that mixed bag of emotions, aka fear. What if this doesn't work? I've tried many things. What if I fail again, just like I have in the past? And if you're here listening to this and you've got a strong desire to summon your superhuman, I'd imagine you're someone who wants more, like me, but sometimes that what if I can't do it, or I can't stick to the plan, or I'm just too far gone, or it just will never work for someone like me, or thinking that you're not destined for greater. All of this language sets in, and then guess what? Nothing changes, nothing happens, and then you still feel like a kind of failure anyway. So what about this fear of success then? Is this a real thing? And it absolutely is a real thing. And as I briefly mentioned earlier, it's like I've felt this within myself. I am quite a private person. Generally, I've always thought of myself as quite introverted, and with only those that I open up to being close to. But anyway, you come to a point in your life where you have to stop caring what other people think, especially those who don't matter. And I've my recent experience with this actually is I've started releasing some exercise videos on my YouTube channel, the Physique YouTube channel, and much to my surprise, the commentary, the things that people are so stingy to like and comment on a positive post. Not everyone, I'm saying, like, people are quite stingy with their likes, let's say. But to give you a dislike or a diss in a comment, I even had a roundabout death threat. And I was like, wow, on an inspirational post. And I know a lot of great people have said, you're starting to do big things when you get hate. And I'm like, look, I don't think that hate is okay in any time. And it has only made me empathize with bigger name people who must cop so much. And we're human, like, yes, we want to do superhuman things, but we're still human. And if you tell someone that, they should like go kill themselves, or just even putting them down for something that they're proud of or they're trying to share, with what I was doing, I was like, it was laughable. Like, I'm trying to share things that will help people, and then people will still put that down. But this is some straight facts right here. There are always going to be people that do not like you. Straight up, they're not going to like you. They're not going to like the look of you. They're not going to like the sound of your voice. They're not going to like anything about you. And I've experienced this firsthand my entire life. I've had people that just look at me and don't like me, and I'm like, and I've taken it to heart. Like, why do they not like me? Like, what? They don't even know who I am. Like, how can they be so mean? I digress. Let's go back to fear of success. So yes, fear of success is a real thing, because let's bring it back to the example of health and fitness. Now, you lose the excess weight, or your headaches disappear, the back pain is gone, your clothes no longer fit. So all of these wonderful things start going right, and we would deem that as successful, right? But they're also quite scary because, again, as I talked about, change, new is scary. And you're thinking, okay, so this person's made a transformation, they're no longer in pain, they've lost the weight, they're feeling and looking great, but then insert identity shift. They need to buy new clothes. How do I dress to fit this new shape? And then that imposter syndrome kicks in again. Or who do I think I am to dress like that? Or I'm not young anymore, I can't dress that way. And it's sad, but this is a reality, and it is the fear of success, because it's also a bit of victim mindset. I can no longer get that empathy and concern from people. Maybe you're worried that you're not going to get that anymore. And then you have to assess how important that actually is to you. Now, I know this may seem silly still, but it's true, and I've seen it a lot, because part of the transformational process from what we fear is achieving the result, and the change is something that we have to be mentally prepared to make. So one of the reasons you see drastic transformations go in one direction and then straight back to the beginning, and most of the time worse, is not just because of the radical diets and exercise regimes, but also because of the mind wasn't prepared, ready or able to handle the speed of that result, of that success. In our Insta society, our expectations have become obscure and unrealistic. Take a pill or have a procedure and ta-da! The decades of worrying and wallowing are over. Well, no, it's not. We are afraid of things going wrong, but what if things go right? There's a reason challenge and change are intertwined. So let's play a quick little game called the 3-second rule. You have 3 seconds to answer the question. And I can just feel the overthinkers freaking out already, like, ah. But if you're not driving, grab a piece of paper and answer this question. 1. What do I fear right now? First thing that pops into your mind. 3 seconds is done. It's done. We'll go for 2. What's another fear that you have? 3, 2, 1. All right. So we've got 2 fears that we have just sprung to mind. Don't overthink it. It's just the first 2 that's come to your mind. Okay. So now let's look at that first fear. What is the opposite of that? The complete opposite, or the successful outcome, the ideal outcome that would relinquish that fear into a joy. That might take a little bit longer to come to, but you kind of get the gist of where I'm going with it. So we've got that fear of someone might think that, someone you care about think badly of what you want to do. Opposite of that is they actually might turn around and be like, oh my God, that's great. Wow. Now, taking that successful outcome, think about an accommodating affirmation to put that into present text. Like, I am so thankful that I started this podcast because of the people that received value out of this. So now you can see that you've actually got a mantra of such that you can write down and stick it somewhere in your mirror or somewhere to remind you of the desired outcome and how to manifest it to existence. I had this Zorba the Greek quote on my mirror for a little while by Nikos Kazantzakis. Sorry, my Greek friends. By believing passionately in something that does not yet exist, we create it. So obviously do this again for the second fear. And if you came up with a third or a fourth, please, by all means, do it for all of those things, because then you can start to see those fears in a different perspective and reframe it into something positive and something that can actually be an outcome, a realistic one. So now I'll circle back to my example with this podcast. My intention originally was for this to be an extension for more content for people who like to tune into what I'm doing, my clients, and those wanting to dive deeper into specific topics like this, where I can share and teach more knowledge to driven super achievers like yourself. And in hindsight, I got a little lost and dismayed with having to have guests, relying on having to have guests, because that's what everyone does, right? And just trying to follow suit in a sense. And disappointed when people become unreliable. And it's not the people that have been on the show, because everybody here that's been on this show have been amazing. I'm so thankful that I've met them. And what I realized is it was actually me being unreliable and disappointed at myself for not delivering as regularly as I had expected or have wanted. So I really did feel like the failure. And then I had a revelation. I've got this whole library of content that I've created that people are still consuming, even though I haven't released episodes in 3 months. And that really does feel like a success to me. And now I can just share real life situations like this and do more solo episodes that I had intended to do from the get-go that can be a good source of information or support when you need it. And that's really what I had intended to do. So what hit home for me was when people were saying that they had specifically searched for solo episodes on this channel. So look forward to more of these, and I'll still have guests. Absolutely will still have. I even already have a list of people that I do want to introduce you to because they just have a wealth of knowledge that I think needs to be shared. So as of right now, I wanted to publicly share this success of failure and failure of success with you. Superhumans make mistakes too. In fact, probably more mistakes as a result of taking more action. So I want to encourage you today to take action on something you feared and been afraid to do, and do it. Don't think, do. And share the journey as I'll continue to share mine. And again, I want to thank you for tuning in. I truly appreciate your support. And let me know if there are any particular topics or questions you have that I can help guide in future episodes and answer for you. But for now, until next time, strengthen your mind, body, and soul muscles, superhuman, and stay amazing. And please subscribe, like, and share these episodes with those you care about so you can get notified of future episodes. And thanks again. Much love.